Yeah, today's just odds and ends. I have nothing more to add, really. I could. Oh, okay. You want to, Angel, do you want to present your movie poster? Sure. Okay. So we'll start with that. But before you do, go ahead and get it all ready, and I will make you a panelist so that you can share your screen and we can talk about it. But just a reminder, by the end of the week, I know I put in the weekly syllabus that everything is due today, but just if you get everything to me by the end of the week, make sure that on Google Drive, lessons 1 through 12 are posted. And also make sure that you have your final project. The Retouch Restore image is posted on Google Drive as well. And make sure that it is a Photoshop file, .psd, and that you have not, make sure that you don't flatten it, that you keep a record of all of your work. I want to be able to click on the bottom layer and see the original, and then look at the end and see the final. And I want to be able to see all of your the steps in between. And I have a question here. A couple of questions. Yeah, Sunday is fine. I'm not going to do any grading until next week. Next week is normally finals week, but in all of our studio classes, we really don't have a final. We have a final critique, but that's just not going to happen this semester. And even in some of my classes, I don't have final critiques. We've had critiques for the other projects, so you get an idea of what we're going for. So that's it. We can spend today critiquing work. And if you'd like, especially if you have your final project and you want to know, if I think it needs improvement, or maybe it looks just fine, and I'll say, turn it in as is, it's good. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead, and now that we're recording, and I hope, Angel, you don't mind, I'm going to go ahead and elevate you to, where are you, Angel? There you go. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make you, promote you to panelist. And then I'm going to look under share screens here and make sure that you can, you should be able to share your screen now, Angel.
Oops. Sorry. How do I do that?
There should be a green button at the bottom that says share screen. So just make sure that you have, your final project open in Photoshop.
I don't think it's letting me. I think my computer's too old, maybe.
That's possible. Did you put it up on? Okay, did you put it up on Google Drive?
I did.
Okay, then I will open it from my end.
All right, thank you. Sorry about that.
So that's okay. I'm going to go ahead and demote you back to attendee. So hold on here. Let's go back to panelists. And I'm going to make sure that you go back to attendee. Come on, where is it? I don't want to make you a host. Change role to attendee. There you go. So let me go back and look in here, and I have, Angel, you're in the second class, I think. So hold on here. It'll take me a minute to open this file up. In the first or second, I guess I misspoke. Okay, let me go back. I'll look at the first one. I've got other things going on my computer, so everything is running really slow. I apologize. Got a rendering going, other apps open, that sort of thing. Okay, come on. It's taking a minute. I apologize, everybody. So while I'm waiting for this to open, let me go back. Okay. Let me see. Okay, I'm going to have to download it first. I apologize. Unless I already did. So let me download it. Can't see the screen back here. Come on. It is a Photoshop file. Okay, hold on here, folks. Why isn't I don't see? Oh, it says preview. Let's see if let me see if I can open it with preview. I'm trying. I see it in the browser here. I don't see. So I'm going to download this first. There we go. So I want it to go to my desktop. And I have, let's see. There's my movie poster files for this semester. So I'll save it in there. Oh, let me cancel. Oh, it looks like it's already in there. So hold on here. I'm going to rename it. And there we go. So I'm going to go ahead and download it. And that's what it's doing right now. So now I need to switch to Photoshop. And you let me know if I need to share my screen. So let me switch to Photoshop over here. I already have it. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And let me open the file. Open. Oh, it's terrible how sluggish all of this is. I shouldn't have started a rendering before our webinar, but that's the way it goes. I don't want to kill it now because it's almost done. There it is. Wait a minute. Let me look at it. List. Oh, it's still downloading. There it is. It's done. I presume all of you can see me okay? Or rather see my screen? Oh, okay. You weren't here. Or were you when we talked? We talked about this a little bit. No? Let me make sure that you can speak. So let me look at participants. Come on. There we go. There you go, Angel. Go ahead and unmute yourself. So we didn't talk about this before, no?
It's because I started working, so I wasn't able to attend the seminar that day.
Okay, well, I thought we talked about it a little bit. Maybe you weren't here, but
Yeah, I watched the YouTube video, but yeah.
oh, okay. So I have some other thoughts, and I don't remember what I said, but I'll probably repeat myself. But you talk to us about it a little bit. Give us.
Well, for my story, I mean, I'm a cook, so I wanted to do something that had to do with cooking. I was like recently watching like Ratatouille, so I kind of got like the inspiration for that. I always thought it was kind of like a gross movie, but kind of funny. And I don't know, I kind of feel like that kind of is in a way kind of, I don't know, I want to say like represents me, but it's kind of, I like that kind of stuff. Like it's kind of funny, but kind of raunchy in a way.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
something like that. Yeah.
Well, as popular as Ratatouille is, and it's that Disney animated movie is done really well, but it's still I kind of cringe when I think about rats and food together. So, and I don't like cockroaches either. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So, I like your choice of images. Okay, and how you have the composition that you created with them. It works really well. I think the background image that you have, let's see, with the other people in the kitchen behind you, it would have. I would like to see that if you could treat that part of the image the same way that you treated it looks like a cityscape of LA or someplace, a more
Yeah.
posterized effect. That would be interesting to see. So, and then the cockroach and you would be the two more realistic images, and it would be a nice juxtaposition between the two. Or if you could just blur the background of maybe this would be another alternative to take the background of the people who are in the kitchen, and I don't know if they're on a separate layer or not. I can't tell. I don't think so. I'm looking at layers here.
Yeah, I should have named them. I had a lot of,
Okay.
yeah.
Then put a layer on top of it, a solid layer. It's the same color as this kind of salmon color that you're using in back of the chimichanga. And then put it on a separate layer, but on top of that layer, and then change the opacity of it so it gives it kind of a pinkish cast. But
Okay.
dial back the opacity way back to maybe 20% and see how that works. It's just a thought.
Okay.
Then on a technical side, what I think is that the title that you have, Chimichanga, works really well, but I would take the text, and even if it goes out beyond the border of that ellipse, I would increase the height of it. So maybe pick a different font that is condensed so that you can maximize the height for that amount of space. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah.
And make sure that it reads on top of everything, or if you can interweave it with the background of the cityscape. But it just needs to be bigger. It is very readable. I don't have a problem with the font. I just think to show, typically titles and the images work together. They kind of play off of one another. Then the other thing that I would do, the little quote by Roger Ebert, like Ratatouille, but with a roach. I would reduce the size of that a little bit and center it, possibly. But make sure that you reduce the size of it. It doesn't need to be quite that big. And
Okay.
the same with the credits. I would reduce the size of the credits a little bit and make sure that they are perfectly centered, like you've centered your title. And that's
Okay.
it. So it works really well. You've done a good job with the cockroach. You're not quite looking at it, but that's okay. That's okay for this class. So do you have any thoughts, post thoughts, so to speak, of my evaluation of it?
No, yeah, that
Of
makes
your
sense. Like, I
And
would want to try to do that thing with the background with the people. Maybe make it a little, cause yeah, it kind of makes my face and the roach kind of more like a part of the background instead of making it more stand out in a way.
Yeah, it's a thought. I'm not saying that my suggestions are a guarantee that they will work. It's just that if we were in class, I would say, before we print it, before we turn it in, let's try a few things, try a few variations and see what works and what doesn't work.
Okay, yeah, absolutely.
So,
Thank you.
for example, let's see. I'm turning that off. No, that's the wrong layer. Let's see. There's the ellipse. Maybe it's this. That's it. So here's an example. Since I have control over this, we can test it out now. I'll go ahead and on this layer, it's that background layer. I'm going to add another layer. And I'm going to make sure that I select the eyedropper from here. I pick that salmon color. It's also possible, instead of the salmon color, we could use the yellow. So I don't know which will work or which won't work, but on this layer now, I'm going to select all. And I want to fill it with that color. Okay. And now I'm going to dial it back. Okay. I'm going to dial it way, way back. Gosh, my computer is slow. I don't know that it's doing anything. It just might give it a bit of a tint. Now, oh, I see what's happening here. I only want that attached to that layer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make that background layer. There we go. So now I can increase the opacity of that just a little bit. And it just gives it kind of a pinkish tinge. So it doesn't affect anything else. You see how it's changing it?
Yeah.
I don't know if you can see from there. So let's try a different color. So let's select that again. And this time, I'm going to flip background with the foreground, and I'm going to select the eyedropper again. And I'm going to pick this color here, that yellow, and I'm going to fill it with that color and see if the yellow doesn't work better. And I don't know. That's something I'd have to sit with. You see how the yellow is giving it kind of a cast, an overall kind of yellow cast to it. but it's really helping the cockroach to pop forward a little bit. And maybe if we were to add a little bit of contrast to your image, that would help it as well. So let's scroll down here and let's see, your image is near the top. So I'm going to select your image here. And then I'm going to add an adjustment layer on top of it. You follow what I'm doing to try variations?
Yeah.
And you may like them, you may not. I don't know. It's just typically the way I work. And then keep all of them there, and you can turn them on, turn them off, and you're working non-destructively. And then within a single file, you have multiple variations of it. So I'm going to select auto here because you're really missing. I don't know if that helps or not. Let me go back here, and I want this to be. So it just affects that layer. Let's try a different adjustment layer instead. I'm going to try levels instead of curves. And again, I'm going to go ahead and select auto. I'm just pushing the contrast between light and dark a little bit. And that might make your face pop just a little bit more. Okay, so let me push this down a little. There we go. And now what I'm going to do, that's making everything pop, which isn't so bad. Again, I don't know if you can see on your screen the effect that it's having.
No, yeah, I see it.
But if I only affect your layer, and notice how it makes sure by increasing the contrast a little bit, it's enhancing not only the colors in your face, but the range of light and dark, and it's making everything pop a little bit more. And likewise, let's go down, now that I'm working here, let's go all the way back up to the credits. Let's find where they are. Here they are. It's layer 5, I think. There we go. Yep. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to turn them back on, hit Command T to transform. I'm going to shrink them just a little bit. They don't need to be quite that large. And then I want to move them. And I'm guesstimating that this is center. Okay. And we'll go ahead and hit return. There are subtle little things that I'm changing, but I think overall, you know, when you're done with all of those changes, that it will make those little subtle, minuscule changes will add up. So there's one more. It's like Ratatouille, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to hit Command T, and I'm going to transform that and make it a little bit smaller. Now, I don't think I will center it. That was my original suggestion. I don't think that's such a good idea. But just, you know, put it off to the side here a little bit. Make it, you don't want it to be that important, but you do want it to be visible. And again, I think this is the changes that I'm suggesting here have to do with teaching online, to be perfectly honest. That if we were in the classroom and I were watching you work, it's got to be, there we go, there's Chimichanga. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to hit Command T for that. And I'm going to stretch that out just to see what happens. Now I'm really distorting the type. But what we could do to this layer, and so I would suggest making other changes. I don't think it works that way, but I'm taking and I'm stretching it out to make it more condensed and enlarging it. But what we can do to that to make it read a little bit better is to add a drop shadow to it. So let's see what we have here. And that's just way, way, way too big. I'm going to try and change the distance of that. I mean, it's still not bad, but we're going to change the size of it. I don't know what I was doing from before. But even layered on top of the cityscape. And then maybe make Angel Zapatas a little bit larger. But you see the little subtle changes that I'm making in it? I don't know.
Yeah.
What you think. Does anybody else have any comments on what I'm doing? Do you see the changes that I'm making? Are they relevant to you, or 6 of one, a half a dozen of the other? And that may be. Sometimes when you make, work with different variations like that, you might want to make different copies, different composite layers, and then put them side by side. Walk away from it for a few days and come back to it and see what it looks like, and then decide, well, which is the better one or which isn't. So what I'm saying here is what you've done conceptually is good, and from a design point of view is good. You have all the right ingredients, and I think it's just a matter now of maybe tweaking some of the elements to arrive at what you might think is the most desirable end result. And again, that end result might be, I won't say it's highly subjective, but it will be subjective. It will depend on your taste and the taste of the viewer. So those are some of the things that I would consider doing. But you've done fine. And I presume I already graded it. Yes? No?
I don't think I've checked yet, but
Yeah, well, I will be checking on all of this stuff this weekend. So, and hopefully I'll catch it all. So you please check it. And if I haven't graded it, email me to make sure, because I thought I went through them all anyway and graded them, even if you didn't participate or couldn't participate in the critique.
Okay, I'll do that. Thank you.
Okay. Any comments from the rest of you? If you do have comments, please raise your hand and I will allow you to speak. No? So everybody is clear on what you need to do, and we're good for today? And that's it? If that's it, then we're done. I appreciate you guys hanging in there and working throughout the semester. And that's it. Before you go, though, let me make sure that I've checked the roll sheet for everybody. So I'm going to go back here and yeah, this is our last meetup. That's it. We don't meet next week. We are done as of today. I will say this though, if you do have, if you do want a private meeting or Zoom meeting or webinar or whatever to talk about your work, I'm open to that. Just email me and we'll set something up. You will, the question is, when will we see your final grades? Probably by the end of next week. I just want to make sure that I have everything before I submit them, because it's sort of a pain to say, oh shoot, I overlooked a grade and it affected your final grade. And now I have to go through all this paperwork to change the grade. So I'm gonna just make sure that you see everything in Google Drive clearly. And if you have to go back in and rename it, just so that, you know, I know what's what. I know that from time to time, when you put in Photoshop files, and if they're too large, you cannot see a preview. That is normal. That's okay. But just make sure that it's in your, you know, that I see it and it's in Google Drive. That's the important part. Okay. Yeah, so it won't be until the end of next week. I'll probably try to submit grades next Thursday. And that's it. I mean, my grading will be done way beforehand. So periodically check grades and make sure, you know, if you know that you have turned everything in and you're checking your grades and you know that, you know, something hasn't been, a grade hasn't been posted yet, meaning for a particular project, then let me know and I will hunt it down and make sure that I have it. So again, wait just one more second before you guys leave. Because I see that Roberto joined us and who else? I already got Kevin because he always shows up. I need to switch to the other class. So. And then as soon as I'm done taking roll, you guys are free to go. I think I have everybody. And roll isn't really critical anyway. It's for my benefit. See how many people show up. That's all. So if we're good, I guess is there one more in the chat here? Oh, okay. Giovanni, you're welcome. So we're all good to go. So I'm going to say goodbye. I'm going to pause the recording and I'll hang around for a few minutes. Yeah, you guys enjoy your winter break too. And I hope to see you guys in the spring. If you're interested in taking the advanced Photoshop class, I have, maybe some of you are already enrolled. I don't know. I have about 7 or 8 people